The world of Sister Wives has never been short on drama, but the latest chapter in Kody Brown's turbulent story has set social media ablaze in ways that even longtime fans could not have anticipated. The once proud patriarch, who for over a decade built his reputation as the leader of a sprawling polygamous family, now finds himself drowning in humiliation after explosive leaks revealed that the apologies he had offered, both to his estranged wives and to rumored new partners, were nothing more than hollow words. As if that betrayal were not damaging enough, the very women he had allegedly been courting as his new wives have slammed the door on him, leaving Kody reeling and fans stunned at the spectacle of his spectacular downfall. For a man who once commanded the loyalty of 4 wives and the fascination of millions of viewers, the rejection marks a bitter end to his attempt at reinvention and a sobering reminder that reputation once shattered is nearly impossible to rebuild. From the earliest days of Sister Wives, Kody Brown portrayed himself as a man on a mission. With his unique blend of charm, bravado, and what many once perceived as a sense of spiritual calling, he convinced Meri, Janelle, Christine, and later Robyn to share their lives under the umbrella of plural marriage. The show captivated audiences, not just for the novelty of its premise but because of the raw emotions that surfaced within the unconventional family. For years, viewers watched as Kody juggled the expectations of multiple wives, countless children, and the ongoing battle between his ideals and reality. Yet even as the family expanded, fractures began to form, and those cracks widened into deep fissures as favoritism, neglect, and unspoken resentments became impossible to ignore. Christine's decision to leave Kody marked a turning point not only in the family's dynamic but in Kody's image. Once seen as the confident patriarch who could manage the complexities of plural marriage, he now appeared vulnerable, defensive, and at times cruel in his inability to accept accountability. Janelle's growing independence and eventual estrangement added further weight to his downfall, while Meri's long history of rejection at his hands was laid bare for the world to witness. Through it all, Robyn remained by his side, but her presence became a lightning rod for criticism, as many fans accused Kody of abandoning his other wives emotionally and physically in favor of his youngest spouse. Public image of equality and harmony that Kody had once tried to project had crumbled completely, leaving him a man with a broken family and a tarnished reputation. It was against this backdrop of chaos that rumors of new wives began to circulate. For some, the idea was laughable. How could Kody, whose public image was in ruins, possibly convince new women to join him in plural marriage when his previous relationships had ended so painfully? For others, it seemed like a desperate but predictable move. Kody has always thrived on the validation of women willing to follow his vision, and perhaps in the absence of Christine, Janelle, and Meri, he believed that bringing new wives into the fold would restore his image as a man in control. First, the whispers were little more than speculation, but as details began to emerge, the story took on a life of its own, fueled by leaked conversations and shocking revelations that painted a devastating picture of who Kody Brown has become. Central to the fallout were the apologies Kody allegedly offered to these new women, apologies that were later leaked and dissected by fans. What they revealed was not a man filled with remorse or a willingness to take ownership of his past mistakes, but rather a carefully crafted script designed to tug at heartstrings without ever confronting the truth. Instead of acknowledging the pain he had caused Christine by dismissing her needs, instead of validating Janelle's frustration at being attacked when she asserted independence, instead of recognizing the years of loneliness Meri endured while clinging to a marriage he had long abandoned, Kody's words read as shallow gestures, an attempt to gloss over years of neglect with hollow promises of change. For the women on the receiving end of these apologies, the insincerity was impossible to ignore. The rejection was swift and unforgiving. Reports suggest that the new wives wasted no time in walking away once they realized that Kody's remorse was little more than performance. They saw through the facade, recognizing that the man who claimed he was ready to start fresh was still the same individual unwilling to do the difficult work of accountability. For fans, the leaked apologies were both infuriating and validating. Infuriating, because they underscored the years of pain Kody's wives had endured while he refused to take responsibility, but validating because they confirmed what so many had suspected all along, that Kody's apologies were not genuine expressions of regret but calculated moves to preserve his own ego. Public reaction has been nothing short of explosive. On forums and fan groups and across social media, viewers have expressed outrage at the audacity of Kody's attempts to rebrand himself as a man worthy of new wives without first addressing the devastation of his past. Memes mocking his hollow apologies flooded platforms. Hashtags like #FakeApologies and #RejectedByNewWives began trending, and the narrative of Kody's downfall solidified. In the eyes of many fans, this was not just another messy chapter in the ongoing saga of the Brown family but the ultimate karmic retribution. The man who had once dismissed the pain of his wives as exaggerations or failures on their part was now being dismissed himself, his words deemed worthless, his attempts at reconciliation ridiculed. For Christine, Janelle, and Mary, the fallout likely came as little surprise. Christine, who has flourished in her new marriage with David Woolley, has made no secret of her relief at escaping the sadness of her life with Kody. Janelle, whose calm pragmatism has always been a strength, seems to have reached a place of peace away from the toxicity. Mary, while the most patient and long-suffering, has finally carved out her independence, choosing to build a life that does not revolve around waiting for Kody's attention. To these women, the news of Kody's rejection by potential new wives must have felt like confirmation that their decisions to leave were the right ones. In walking away, they found dignity and healing, while Kody, in seeking to replace them without true accountability, found only humiliation. The world of sister wives has always been a storm of emotions, family struggles, heartbreaks, and shocking revelations, but nothing could have prepared fans for the moment Kody Brown decided to break his silence and finally offer apologies to his 3 ex-wives. For over a decade, viewers have seen Kody as a man consumed by pride, often unwilling to admit fault and stubbornly defending his actions no matter how controversial. His relationships with Christine, Janelle, and Mary have each been torn apart in different ways, and through the collapse of his plural marriage, fans often wondered if Kody would ever have the humility to acknowledge his mistakes. When he finally sat down to speak openly about the past and confess that he owed his ex-wives an apology, fans were left stunned, conflicted, and skeptical, asking themselves whether this was a genuine act of remorse or simply too little too late. From the early days of Sister Wives, Kody projected the image of a confident patriarch. He insisted he could balance multiple marriages, care for many children, and lead his family with both faith and strength. Yet beneath the carefully curated picture of plural harmony, the cracks were always there. Mary, his first wife, carried the burden of being pushed aside once new wives entered the family. Janelle often fought to maintain her independence, clashing with Kody's desire to control the family narrative. Christine gave her heart to the marriage but was left emotionally starved, eventually making the bold decision to walk away in 2021 after years of feeling unseen and unloved. When Christine left, fans celebrated her courage, but they also saw it as a warning sign of just how toxic the family dynamic had become. As Christine built her new life with her now husband David Woolley, Janelle followed her path of independence, separating from Kody when it became clear that respect and partnership no longer existed between them. Mary, whose marriage had been crumbling for years, finally accepted the inevitable and parted ways with the man who had long abandoned her emotionally. With Robin left as the only wife still by his side, Kody was forced to face a painful reality. His vision of polygamy had completely fallen apart, and his dream of a united plural family had died before his very eyes. Fans had often pointed out that through all of these breakups, Kody rarely accepted accountability. He repeatedly blamed his wives for being disloyal, disobedient, or unwilling to conform to his vision. On tele-specials, his tone was often bitter, his words cutting. He painted himself as the victim of betrayal rather than the cause of the breakdowns. That is why this new apology has left fans shocked. For the first time, Kody has admitted he was wrong. He openly confessed that he mishandled his marriages, that his pride and ego got in the way of loving his wives the way they deserved, and that he allowed anger to cloud his judgment. The apology, however, has been received with mixed emotions. Many longtime fans feel a sense of vindication, as if their years of pointing out Kody's failings have finally been acknowledged. But at the same time, there is widespread skepticism. Through all, these words come years after Christine, Janelle, and Mary have already moved on with their lives. Christine in particular has made it clear that her happiness lies elsewhere, her marriage to David Woolley standing as proof that life after Kody is not only possible but joyful. For fans who have followed her journey, Kody's words now feel hollow, arriving long after she needed them. Social media erupted almost instantly after the news broke of Kody's apology. Fans flooded forums, Twitter threads, and Instagram comment sections with reactions that ranged from disbelief to anger. Some insisted that this was a rare moment of growth, arguing that perhaps Kody had finally been humbled enough by the collapse of his family to look inward and see the damage he caused. Others were far less forgiving, suggesting that the apology was a publicity stunt timed perfectly to generate interest in upcoming episodes of Sister Wives. Through all, TLC has been no stranger to amplifying drama in order to boost ratings, and Kody's newfound remorse could easily be framed as part of a redemption arc. For Christine, the apology may have felt like old news. Her story of heartbreak had been told and retold, her voice finally breaking free after years of silence. She had already shared with fans that intimacy had long been absent in her marriage to Kody, that she felt like an afterthought rather than a cherished partner. By the time Kody's apology came, she had already healed and started anew. Janelle, ever pragmatic, likely saw Kody's words as too late to change anything. Her independence and determination to live life on her own terms have already freed her from his shadow. As for Mary, whose emotional bond with Kody had withered years ago, the apology may have felt more like closure than reconciliation. She had already endured years of emotional abandonment, and an apology now, while perhaps appreciated, could not undo the loneliness she experienced for so long. The phrase "too little, too late" has echoed loudly in the fanbase, becoming almost a rallying cry among viewers. Many believe that apologies are only meaningful when they come at a time when they can truly repair relationships. In Kody's case, his apologies seem to have arrived after the bridges have already been burned and the paths forward have already been forged by his ex-wives without him. It is hard to rebuild trust when years of damage have been left unchecked, and while his words may provide a sense of closure, they are unlikely to inspire reconciliation. And yet, there is something undeniably compelling about watching Kody reach this point. For years, he embodied stubbornness and pride, often refusing to bend or admit fault. To see him publicly humble himself, even belatedly, marks a dramatic shift in the narrative. Whether sincere or not, the apology adds another layer to the ongoing saga of the Browns. Forces fans to re-examine the man they love to hate, asking whether he is capable of change or simply playing a part in the ongoing drama that has defined his family for over a decade. The Brown family, already no stranger to controversy, heartbreak, and reality television drama, finds itself facing yet another shocking twist, this time centered on Christine and Kody Brown's daughter Ysabel. What initially appeared to be a high-stakes $225,000 lawsuit has spiraled into something far more complicated and unsettling, leaving fans questioning what the future holds for one of the most private members of the Brown family. Ysabel, who has largely stayed out of the public eye compared to her famous parents and siblings, now finds herself thrust into a legal and personal storm that threatens not only her finances but also her emotional stability. The latest developments in this ongoing saga have stunned fans and reignited debates about the Brown family's legacy, the consequences of growing up in the spotlight, and the complex web of relationships that continue to define this reality television dynasty. The roots of Ysabel's legal troubles are multi-layered, stemming from financial disputes, contractual disagreements, and personal conflicts that have been quietly simmering behind the scenes. While the full details of the lawsuit remain largely private, court documents indicate that Ysabel is facing significant financial liabilities, and recent updates suggest that the situation has taken a darker, more complicated turn. Fans who have followed Sister Wives for over a decade are aware that the family's story has been marked by both triumphs and tragedies, but this latest chapter introduces a level of tension that goes far beyond what viewers have previously witnessed. For Ysabel, the stakes are immense, and the pressure of navigating this legal minefield under the scrutiny of the public is unprecedented. As news of the lawsuit's escalation spread, social media quickly became a forum for debate, speculation, and concern. Fans expressed shock that Ysabel, who had largely remained out of the family's drama, was now at the center of a story that has captured national attention. Comment sections, Twitter threads, and Instagram posts were flooded with reactions, ranging from sympathy to incredulity, as followers tried to process how a lawsuit of this magnitude could affect a young woman who has spent much of her life in the shadow of her famous parents. Supporters expressed outrage over the financial and emotional strain Ysabel is experiencing, while critics questioned the circumstances that led to such a precarious situation, speculating whether poor decision-making, family tensions, or other factors might have played a role. The emotional toll on Ysabel cannot be overstated. Growing up as the daughter of Christine and Kody Brown, she has witnessed firsthand the public scrutiny, marital tensions, and family disputes that have defined the Sister Wives narrative. Unlike her parents, who have been able to navigate both fame and public perception with varying degrees of success, Ysabel now faces a challenge that is intensely personal, financial, and highly public all at once. Legal experts and mental health professionals alike note that navigating a lawsuit under such circumstances can be extraordinarily stressful, as it combines financial risk with the pressure of public visibility, magnifying anxiety and complicating decision-making. Meanwhile, questions about parental involvement and family support have arisen. Christine, widely respected by fans for her resilience and grace under pressure, is facing the dual challenge of supporting her daughter while managing her own personal life, public responsibilities, and professional engagements.